Okay, well, this is the Senior Master Coordinator, Bob Ferguson, and it's my complete delight to have my very good friend and birthday brother and colleague. And we were born a few years apart, but we were born on exactly the same day, September 9th.
Probably the same time.
Probably the same time, something close to it anyway. So Rusty's been a dear friend. Rusty and June have been dear friends for decades and decades, and we have done a lot of talks together. And Rusty is, in addition to being a terrific Shaklee leader, he is also a weeds and seeds pharmacist. Now, he explained that to me, that at some point, the weeds and seeds went away from pharmaceutical training, but he was trained early enough that he got the weeds and seeds. I'll leave it to him to talk to you about what weeds and seeds are. But I think this, Rusty, without any exaggeration, gives you a lot different perspective on Shaklee products, Shaklee nutraceuticals, some of the ingredients in Shaklee products, just because you've studied them. So the purpose of tonight's call is to really talk about the immune system. Now, since we decided to do this, events have rushed forward. We, I think, are going to talk about how do you strengthen your immune system, because if there is no immunity to a virus and you happen to get it, you've got it. But, well, I'll tell you what, I would rather have a strong immune system under those circumstances than a weak immune system. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. How do we create the best possible opportunity for our body to fight off whatever comes? So, Rusty, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Bob. And you're right. Coronavirus, the COVID-19. The thing is that it's COVID-19. It's not COVID-10 or 11 or 12. We've been through all of those. And so at some point in time, I think we can expect this to continue. And we do need to prepare our immune system for more than just, everyday life. But Bob, you talked about weeds and seeds, and it was a course that was a mouthful called pharmacognosy. And I graduated from pharmacy school 7 years before June did, my wife, and I actually graduated about 5 years before she started. And in those 5 years, the pharmaceutical industry changed drastically, and pharmaceutical companies no longer pursued natural products as they had in the past, and everything went to synthetic, and it's gone on down the road since then. But because I'm old enough, I did study weeds and seeds, and I carried around probably 50 or 60 little Ziploc bags full of parts of plants, and it may have been a rhizome or a root or a bark or a flower or whatever. And so that's kind of where I come from. But starting actually, let's go back to like 2012, 2013, when people began to become afraid, and governments and scientists and not necessarily medicine, but scientists and governments and people began to become afraid of these things called superbugs, because they were becoming immune to the antibiotics that we had. And actually there was a woman in Great Britain who is the equivalent of our US Surgeon General, who stated that the rise of antibiotic resistant superbugs is so great a threat that the world is now facing an apocalyptic scenario in which people die of routine infections. And she claims that she warned Parliament that contagious antibiotic resistant disease is an imminent crisis and should be included on the government's official register of possible national emergencies, right next to terrorist attacks and natural disasters. And I'm thinking, today how true that is. As we walk around and drive around Florida and go to the grocery store and go to places, it's like preparing for a hurricane, where people just go nuts and they buy all the toilet paper in the store, and there's really no need for that. But people overreact, and it doesn't necessarily help, but it's kind of hard not to do that when you're facing these things. And so there's a Dr. Brad Spielberg, who's an assistant professor of medicine at UCLA, who kind of put a different light on this, because he said pharmaceutical companies no longer are developing drugs to treat infections, because they're not interested in developing a drug that you are going to use for 10 days to get rid of an infection. They're going to spend their time, their money, and their resources on developing drugs that you will use to treat degenerative disease like arthritis or heart disease, something that you will take over long periods of time. And so that's where the pharmaceutical industry is coming from. And I just think that as human beings, we need to take a better care of ourselves. And I would like to present you with some scenarios that might make that happen. And so you see it, Shaklee has an RX for healthier life. RX, by the way, stands for recipe. So this is a recipe for a healthier life. And do you feel like what you eat has anything to do with your health? Well, you can see that, in 125 years ago, we ate fresh agricultural food. We worked hard. We ate natural food. We ate organic food. We ate high fiber diets. And now today you have milling of the grain, and you've got all of these things that have reduced the quality of the food that's grown. You got genetically modified organisms, and you have all of those things that come into play. And according to the author of Fast Food Nation, the typical American eats 3 hamburgers and 4 orders of fries a week. From 2013 to 2016, more than 1/3 of the adults consume fast food on any given day. And so according to the USDA, Americans now spent 18% of their calories away from home in 1977. Now, 40 years later, that's doubled. It's now 34, 35, 36% of our calories are eaten away from home. So possibly this quarantining that's going on with coronavirus will at least cause people to eat healthier. Today, the average American spends $100 per month on fast food. That's $3 a day if you don't take a day off. That's kind of scary. So your body is made up of 60 to 80 trillion cells. Most of us know that, but the only substance that builds cells are vitamins, minerals, and protein. Substances that don't build cells are the ones that are listed. Every 4 months we get all new blood cells, and about every year we get every 7 years we get a whole new body. So we have a chance to improve what we have. Okay, so the choice is yours. If you have today's diet, you're one of those people that spends $100 a month at fast food restaurants, you eat more than 1/3 of your calories outside the home, well, that produces inferior health. Or with optimum nutrition, you can actually produce superior health. And I know that many people on the call tonight have a story that's as powerful as mine about how Shaklee supplements have actually changed your life. 40 years ago, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning without help from my wife. I couldn't tie my shoes. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't do anything. Now, 40 years down the road, I'm way better shape than I was 40 years ago. So I know for a fact that it works. So let's say that you've decided to take a greater responsibility for your health. And that's what we have to do, people. We have to take a greater responsibility for our own health. We can't give that responsibility to Rusty Ost or Bob Ferguson or Dr. Jones or anybody. We have to take it for ourselves. And now that, since you've decided to do that, we'll say that you're now the boss of your own health. And let's say that you've decided to use nutritional supplementation to improve your immune system. What are you going to do? Well, there's some things now that I would like you to consider. Now let's take a look at what I call dis-ease, not disease, but dis-ease. And so these are some viruses that have happened over the last 50 years. And I show you this not to make light of the coronavirus. That's not my point at all. My point is that I hope that you understand that this is something that happens all the time. This is not something that, wow, if we can get through this, we're over the hump. That's never going to happen again, because it will. Look at, what year is that? 2009, the H1N1, affectionately referred to as the Heine virus. And 1,632,000 people were affected. 17% fatality rate, 17%. 1 in 5 people who got it died. That's pretty serious. And so I've updated this chart. Actually, I updated it 3 years ago, or 3 days ago, before I sent the slides to Bob. And it's changed even since then. I put in red the number of US, so like the cases were 167,000, and there were 3,300 cases in the United States, okay? That was 3 days ago. As of today, that number is not 167,000, it's 197,000. There are 30,000 more cases, and that's just the people that were tested. Hard to tell how many hundreds of thousands of people may have it that haven't been tested. But of that 167,000, there were 6,500 deaths. Now, out of the 197,000, there are now 36 more deaths. And so there's 99 or something like that. And the death rate in the US is now 1.7%. And that's not nice. That's not fun. That's pretty scary. But when you compare it to the H1N1, it's a 1/10 the death rate. And of all of these deaths that you see here, of the 6,500, I didn't look at today's, but 3 days ago, of the 6,500, 6,000 of them were in China, Italy, Iran, and Spain. 500 were in the other 152 countries. And so, and by the way, China, on this chart, it says well, it doesn't say. China today had only 10 new cases. So it's already dropping down. And so that's good news. It's really bad, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So we've talked a lot about the problem. Let's talk about some solutions. What the previous chart really shows is that as the world changes, we will be forever challenged by viruses. We have to keep our immune system in top shape always to be prepared. You know, COVID-19 coronavirus disease just happens to be what this one is called. We don't know what the next one will be called or when it will happen, but history tells us there will be another one, okay? So the immune response that occurs in our body is that any process involved in the development or functioning of the immune system results in calibrated responses to potential internal or invasive threats. Modern medicine battles disease with drugs, surgery, radiation, therapies like that. True health, and this is my opinion, and whatever you paid tonight, this is what you're paying for. True health can be attained only by maintaining a healthy, properly functioning immune system. So let's take a look at that. There are 4 stages of the immune response. When you contract any disease, virus, bacteria, cold, flu, measles, whatever, there are 4 stages. The first stage is the lag phase. That's basically the time between your exposure and you begin to get symptoms. Typically, that's, 3 or 4 days to maybe 2 weeks at the most. Then there's what's called the exponential phase. And the exponential phase is the body's response to the virus or to the disease, to the invader. We'll call it the invader. And so your body begins to produce antibodies, and the antibody production exceeds the rate of the invader dying. You're producing more than the invader is dying. Then in the steady state phase, they're about equal. You're producing equal number of antibodies and equal number of invaders are dying. And then you get the decline phase where the antibody production slows down and the invaders are leaving your body really fast, much faster. So the factors affecting the duration of the immune response are the amount of the antibody produced by you and the effectiveness of that antibody, which means that's the state of the immune system in our body. If your immune system is in good shape, the lag phase probably stays the same, but the exponential phase, the steady state phase, and the decline phase are a lot quicker. And I don't know how many people have ever told you that, wow, I got a cold and I got over it immediately. Well, that's because the effectiveness of the immune response in their body was good. Okay, so there's two things that can occur. There are the immune boosters and there are the immune modulators. And they are totally different. They act differently in the body, and they're both good. But immunodeficiency or immune deficiency is a state in which the immune system's ability to fight infectious disease is compromised or even entirely absent. There are more than 80 different immune deficiency syndromes, and we're all probably most familiar with one called AIDS, which is acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. And that gets the most press. But anyway, mainstream medicine has little understanding and no cure for immunodeficiency, and often attempts to manage the symptoms through long-term antibiotics. That can have side effects. In addition, long-term antibiotics destroy the good bacteria in your digestive tract, which lowers your ability to absorb nutrients, and it just has a downward spiraling effect on your overall health. There is a phenomenon called autoimmune disorder. That's when the immune system on your body is too strong and it attacks your body and destroys healthy body tissue because your immune system can't distinguish between the good guys and the invaders. And so the results in immune response that destroys normal body tissue, things like lupus and Epstein-Barr, and I happen to have one called ankylosing spondylitis. It's interesting. But now let's talk about the difference between an immune booster and an immune modulator. An immune booster, I don't know, sounds pretty straightforward to me. It boosts your immune system. And there are some medications. A lot of people have heard of prednisone. That's what prednisone does, only it has horrific side effects. But immune boosters are any chemical, including nutrients, that increases the power and the effectiveness of the immune system. Nutrients like vitamin C, the carotenoids, the flavonoids, the probiotics, E, grapeseed, zinc, garlic, selenium, the omega-3s. Most of those, by the way, can be found in Shaklee Vitalizer. They're examples of immune system caretakers. These products support optimal health. And when they're consumed, and then there's products like Shaklee Defend and Resist. And that's a true immune system booster. And so if a person has an immune system that's flying at about this level, and they take defend and resist, it will cause their immune system to go up. But if they continue to take it, it just flattens out because your immune system stops responding to the stimulus of the herbs in defend and resist, like echinacea. And so in order for it to continue working, you have to stop taking it for a little while. And then when you start taking it again, your immune system gets boosted again. Think of, I don't know how many people ever do dishes anymore because of dishwashers, but I'm kind of old fashioned. So if there aren't very many, I do them. And you start with water that's too hot and you stick your hand in the water and it's too hot. You have to pull your hand out. But as you keep putting it in a little longer each time, pretty soon you can leave that hand in the hot water. But if you put your other hand in, it's too hot. And so that's the way your immune system is. It stops being stimulus, stops responding to the stimulus. So things like the immune boosters, you have to take on a cyclic basis. I'll use June, my wife, as an example. Before we got involved with this company, Shaklee, she was on antibiotics, I would guess 50 weeks a year. Usually she took a 2-week vacation sometime, but all the time on antibiotics. And since we started using Shaklee products, and especially since she used defend and resist for a year in a cyclic manner, she hasn't taken antibiotics ever. And so you can literally change your immune system. But let's take a look at immune modulators, because they're really an interesting a chemical. They're defined as a substance that stimulates or suppresses the immune system and may help the body fight cancer, infections, other diseases. It's the adjustment of the immune system response to the desired level. Does that sound cool to you? Boy, it does to me. The use of nutritional and or herbal immune modulators can either upregulate or downregulate natural immune response as needed. And it enables people with immune disorders to have a more normalized immune function without the potential side effects of unnatural medications. And, you know, I don't know how that sounds to you, but I'll promise you what a difference it made in my life. And the best word picture I can think of is that if I started driving from my Southwest Florida home and I was going to go to Seattle, Washington, several thousands of miles away, and I started out in my car, but behind my car, I was dragging a tank of gasoline. And every time my car burned a gallon of gas would go from the tank in the back into my car. My gas tank was always full. It couldn't overfill my gas tank, causing harm. It would only keep it totally full. And when I got to Seattle, guess what? That tank, I still had a full tank of gas, and the tank truck that I was pulling was still full. And so that's the way immune system modulators work. They're fascinating. I love them. So let's look at some Shaklee. Starts with the RX for a healthier life. You know, you got the Life Strip and the Life Shake. Remember, RX is recipe. So you got the Life Strip, the Life Shake, the Nutriferon, the Vivix, all of those things that are good for you. You know, you've got the vitamins, the minerals, the polyphenols, the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, all of those things that provide optimal health. And so it's a really great start. And we'll talk about Nutriferon a little later. Let's talk about Vitalized Immunity. That's one of the newer Shaklee Immunity products, naturally sweetened with monk fruit. Contains as much vitamin C as 16 oranges. And remember, the National Institute of Health says that vitamin C is an essential factor of the antiviral immune response through the production of interferon alpha and beta at the initial stage of the flu virus. Does that sound like anything you'd want? Wow. And it's delicious. You know, it tastes good. It's sweetened with monk fruit. Great thing. Next thing, Defend and Resist. Such a great product. You know, the echinacea is that immune system booster. You got to take this product on a cyclic basis. And by that, you know, you can use your calendar and you can say 10 days on, 5 days off, 10 days on, 5 days off. Or if you're lazy like me, you say 2 weeks on, a week off, 2 weeks on, a week off. You got to do it in a cyclic manner. But this is a true immune system booster. And it's got all of those other products in there that make it good. And you can drink it, you can swallow it, you can make it like a lozenge and you can suck on it. The elderberry turns your tongue purple. The larch tree coats your throat. Great product, really good. So the next thing, Immunity Formula I. This has been out a while, but it's still an awesome, awesome product. It's not rocket science. Scientists have known for decades that vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, B6, B12, and folic acid were a really, really powerful combination of antioxidants. And they were so good. The only problem was anytime somebody combined them all, they destroyed each other. And so Shaklee found a way to microencapsulate these ingredients to separate them, to keep them separate until they were needed. It's called Shaklee Guard. It's great. And it's this is still a really, really good product. Now we talk about Nutriferon, and you know, it may be one of the greatest discoveries in the history of the immune system response. It performs in ways that other products, both prescriptive and non-prescriptive, cannot. Most people don't understand the power of this product. And, you know, Dr. Kojima discovered interferon in our own bodies in 1954. And he devoted the rest of his life to figuring out a way that he could naturally and safely cause our bodies to produce our own interferon. And so it's rumored that he studied 600 plants. Have no idea how many combinations that might be, but the result was a product called Nutriferon. It was developed by a Japanese pharmaceutical company called Yamanuchi, who at the time was a sister company to Shaklee. And when Roger Barnett bought Shaklee from Yamanuchi, one of the things he did is he obtained the worldwide exclusive, worldwide marketing rights for this patented formula. So if you want Nutriferon, I don't care who you are, there's only one place to get it. And so just for a comparison, I checked today, if you ever get prescriptions filled and you're not using GoodRx, you ought to. I checked at GoodRx for the price of interferon if you had to buy it, and it ranges from $4,000 to about $15,000 a month for synthetic pharmaceutical manufactured interferon. I don't know. I don't know about you, but who wouldn't prefer to produce your own? I mean, that just makes sense because you get all of the benefits. It's really good. So these products that you see now, things like Omega Guard, vitamin C, both the swallow and the chewable, vitamin E, garlic, by the way, is the Russian antibiotic, outstanding product. The probiotics, Optiflora DI, all of these products provide immune support to keep our immune system topped off. But we cannot forget good old Vitalized, because Dr. Forrest Shaklee said a balanced body chemistry allows for a better response to treatment. And that all begins with Vitalized. So we're winding down. Immune support, we live, and the choices, how we live and the choices we make determine our overall health, including our immune health. We have a natural immune system inside our bodies right now. Everybody's got one. Some people have a better one than others, but everybody has a natural immune system. When I was growing up, my father ran a custom feedlot, and they started to raise pigs in what are called farrowing units. And if they were concrete, oh my, it was so clean and everything. And the little piglets were dying because the mother had no natural immunity. So they put the sow out in the mud until she had the babies. And she passed all of that natural immunity on to the babies, and they were all healthy. So just like those little piglets, everybody listening to this call has a natural immune system in their body. It just needs to be given our attention and support. Now, maybe more than ever, the virus we're facing today, I gotta tell you, it's just another virus. It's deadly, it's dangerous. We need to be aware of it. We need to take steps to stop it from spreading so it doesn't get to 1.6 million like the H1N1 did, but more are gonna come. And will your body be ready? Because with proper attention to detail, it can be. And now this is who I am. I am uniquely qualified to discuss prescription medications, their actions and interactions with nutritional supplements and herbal remedies. That's the weeds and seeds that Bob was talking about. And so, birthday brother, I'm handing it back to you.
All right. Well, okay. So if everyone wants to type in a few thanks to Rusty, we'll let the thanks roll a little bit before we jump off. But thank you all for being with us. We had a great crew. I think at the top of our attendance, we had 104 people.